floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, distinguished colleagues. Thank you for the opportunity to address this esteemed gathering. Today, I wish to reflect on the pressing global, regional, and national challenges before us, and to share a vision rooted in social democratic values, a vision that emphasizes resilience, cooperation, and inclusion. In the context of dynamic geopolitical shifts, the rise of digital interdependence, and the imperative of safeguarding democracy and security, a genuine social democratic approach to transatlantic cooperation is both complex and essential. In these transformative times, the social democratic response is not only relevant, it is urgently required. It offers a principled and timely roadmap for socio-political adaptation, one that ensures no one is left behind while prioritizing transatlantic solidarity, digital humanism, social equity, and demographic integrity. Nowhere is this vision more vital than in the Balkans and in my country, North Macedonia, a nation at the crossroads of European aspiration and contemporary geopolitical vulnerability. Dear friends, therefore, let me share with you my opinion that we need a comprehensive social democratic agenda for the enlargement process. The enlargement process is not only a mechanical adaptation of laws or administrative fulfillment of the accession criteria. The enlargement process is becoming more and more an issue of utmost political and geopolitical significance. Unfortunately, in the past years, the enlargement portfolio was in the hands of the commissioner who was very close friend to the Prime Minister Orban. Did he implement the right agenda? We are now facing a government in North Macedonia which is not willing to proceed with the constitutional changes necessary to start the negotiation chapters with the EU. In the past month, they had an intergovernmental session. North Macedonia and Hungary, and Prime Minister Orban is coming out with a statement that we should be in some type of axis in between Hungary, Serbia, and North Macedonia as a kind of award of not starting the negotiations with the EU. The question is now, is there a hidden agenda? Is there something going on behind the curtains? Therefore, Social Democrats must insist on the democratic standards and adherence to the European values and the concept of human rights and freedoms as a most important precondition for the candidate countries to join the EU. The membership in the EU should not be presented as a participation only in the single market. Such approach is strengthening the authoritarian tendencies in many of the candidate countries, giving the autocrats an excuse to abandon the democratic norms and standards. North Macedonia is an example of the lack of strategy, especially among the progressive regarding the European integration. By allowing a bilateralization of the accession process, and here I'm referring to the Bulgarian demands, it is contributed towards the radicalization of the political situation in the country, the significant strengthening of the nationalistic political forces, and the rise of Euroscepticism in the population. The described development not only damaged the process of EU accession in my country, but also opened the door for malignant influence of the third extra-regional actors like Russia and China. North Macedonia now faces a bizarre situation of so-called self-imposed veto because the new government refuses to implement the necessary constitutional changes in order to proceed with the accession talks. However, despite the fact that the current right-wing government, by playing on the card of radicalization of the political situation, is damaging the credibility of the accession process, I haven't heard any critique by the EPP or their sister parties towards the ruling party of VMRO DPMNE. EPP will probably continue to support their sister parties everywhere, whatever they do. That is why I suggest that PES and the SD group in the European Parliament must have their own social democratic enlargement agenda. I'm not suggesting to undermine the expertise of the European Commission and to politicize the issue whether expertise is needed, but to set clear red lines of our social democratic standards for the fulfillment of the criteria for membership. Additionally, we as social democrats must understand that the stalemate in the European integration of each of the countries isn't a technical or administrative issue. The stalemate only reinforces the authoritarian tendencies and strengthens the right-wing and far-right political forces in the respective countries and damages the democratic development of these countries. Now it is the right time for social democrats to step up and reinforce the enlargement process that for too long was a hostage because of the inertia and the lack of vision. In the politics, there isn't an empty space. If Europe and social democrats don't fill the existing vacuum, then anti-democratic and anti-European forces will do that. Thank you for your attention.